From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight. Last night, over 150 residents packed into the Westmark Hotel to speak out about new regulations proposed by the State Department of Environmental Conservation.
News Center 11's Nikki Carvajal was there and she has more.
But I'll tell you one thing, if I have to burn nothing but fuel oil, I'll be spending my whole Social Security check, which is all I have, just to keep warm. Not even to feed myself.
Emotions ran high last night as Interior residents got their first chance to make public comments on the Department of Environmental Conservation's new proposed air quality regulations. Much of the testimony centered around a deep mistrust for the DEC.
These are the people these are the people who brought us the ineffective, expensive IM program, and we endured that for decades. And the borough loved it because they made a lot of money off it and did nothing to clean our air. These are the people that brought us oxy-fuel. They made us pay extra so we could poison our water and our air. They never looked into the fact that the products of combustion were poisonous. We've been punished. We've been treated like guinea pigs for a long time, and we're really tired of it.
Residents also expressed the fear that these regulations would be just the beginning.
The next thing they're going to do is exactly what they've been doing in Europe. They're going to go after the boilers.
The discussion got so heated that members of the audience were jeering at speakers they didn't agree with.
I have to admit I'm pretty nervous right now because I've been hearing heckling and boos, and I know that we're better than that. It does create a situation where, you know, people cannot come to a public meeting without fear of somehow being, you know, ostracized or picked on because they have a real strong concern or have had health concerns related to this air quality.
Tomorrow night, we'll take a closer look at the proposed regulations and what the next steps are for the DEC. Nikki Carvajal, News Center 11.
The final open house on the air quality regulations will be today until 7 p.m. in the Minto Room of the Westmark. DEC representatives will be there to answer the public's questions.
United States Army officials have announced a structure change that will affect both Fort Wainwright and Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson. Fort Wainwright will gain approximately 367 soldiers by 2015, bringing the total number of soldiers stationed here to 6,198. As part of the gain, a newly formed engineer battalion will be added to the Stryker Brigade. J-Bear, however, will be reduced by 780 soldiers, leaving a total of 4,598 stationed at the Anchorage base. Army officials last June announced plans to reduce troops by nearly 80,000 through the year 2017 as part of an Army-wide restructuring effort. USAREC officials say this is a good sign for the strategic importance of Alaska.
It's a reflection of a couple of things. One, it highlights just how strategically important that Alaska is to the Army's Pacific strategy, or the Department of Defense's Pacific strategy, as well as the Arctic. Two, I think it's a clear reflection on the amount of support that Alaskans provide for the military, as well as the support of the local leaders, both at the local and state level.
Members of the Fairbanks community have been mourning the loss of well-known Native leader and education advocate Bernice Joseph. Joseph died yesterday morning at her home in Fairbanks after fighting pancreatic cancer. Friends and family celebrated today with a spaghetti lunch fundraiser at the David Salmon Tribal Hall and continued the gathering during the evening. A celebration of life is scheduled for Thursday from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the David Salmon Tribal Hall as well. There has also been a donation account set up for the family of Joseph. You can find that information on our website, webcenter11.com.
A Fairbanks man shot and killed a dog owned by his neighbor in what he claims was self-defense. According to Fairbanks police, the dog was fatally shot Sunday on 4th Avenue after it attempted to attack the man's son and family dog. The medium-sized black chow dog had jumped the fence into the man's backyard and began to bark, growl, and act aggressively. According to police, this was not the first report made by the man of this type of behavior by the animals. He had reported prior incidents to the animal shelter, troopers, and Fairbanks police. Now, based on statements and evidence collected, no charges have been filed at this time.
Well, we do need to make a correction to a story we aired yesterday about former Fairbanks resident and public servant Patrick Cole.
The celebration of life in Cole's honor will be at the City Hall on January 16th at 5:30 p.m. in the Boys and Girls Club.
We do apologize for the misunderstanding there.
All right, well, when we come back, the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District names a new director of communications.
And an aviation unit at Fort Wainwright gets new leaders and prepares for upcoming deployment. That is our military report. Stay with us.
And welcome back. School District Superintendent Pete Lewis announced that Scott McCray has been hired as the Director of Community and Public Relations. Superintendent Lewis says he will bring a wealth of experience to the job. McCray is a longtime Fairbanks resident who is deeply involved in the Fairbanks community. He's a past recipient of the Alaska Journal of Commerce Top 40 Under 40 Award and the Greater Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce Award for Community Support. He replaces previous director Bill Bailey and will begin work with the school district on January 21st.
We went through a process to advertise, and we interviewed a number of people, and Scott clearly rose to the top. He's a longtime Fairbanks public relations professional. He's got experience at the university, and so he understands large organizations and has a breadth and depth of knowledge that we think will be an asset to our district, and we're excited to have him come on board.
New state regulations will go into effect next month regarding medically necessary abortions. The rules will take effect February 2nd and draw guidelines for what abortions could receive Medicaid funding. The new certificate to request Medicaid funds has two boxes. Either the provider would have to certify the pregnancy was due to rape, incest, or to save the woman's life, or the provider would need to indicate the pregnancy posed a severe health risk to the woman. The health risk must be due to, quote, impairment of a major bodily function, end quote, and then provides a list of approved impairments.
This past year, we went through a revision process to get a little more detail into it. We have not changed the requirement that it be a medically necessary abortion. We've just asked for more information on why it's medically necessary. The process is completely conducted by the physician performing the abortion. It's a reporting of what they did and why they did it.
Today in Fort Wainwright, 2 new Army officials took command of their post just prior to a large-scale deployment. We have more now in this week's Military Report. 152 Aviation Regiment held a change of command ceremony, welcoming new commander Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Barrett and Command Sergeant Major Alex Waddell to the unit. For Lieutenant Colonel Barrett, this is not the first time he has been in Fairbanks.
Graduated from University of Alaska Fairbanks in 1995. My undergraduate degree is in economics from there. I attended the ROTC program, and so I actually graduated from high school in Virginia, but I grew up in Alaska. I wanted to come back to Alaska and attend college. So that's what brought me back here, because I love the state and it feels to me like I've come home.
For the new command, there is one obstacle that is fast approaching: deployment to Afghanistan.
For any upcoming deployment, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we're mission trained and ready. That's half of your mission. The other half of the mission, and the part that goes unnoticed all the time, is the mission back here at home. These soldiers are very good at going downrange and supporting freedom and democracy throughout the world. However, back here at home, the real challenge falls to those wives, those family members.
The new commander says their mission while deployed to Afghanistan is one that they are familiar with.
We will do the same sorts of missions we train for here. We have a medevac company, we have CH-47s that do heavy lift, and then we move VIPs, as well as we'll use our ATS, and then day-to-day operations of the battalion, so maintenance, fuel and aircraft, that sort of thing.
When asked what taking over an aviation regiment of over 700 soldiers just months prior to a large-scale deployment is like, Command Sergeant Major Waddell says he can only compare it to one thing.
The team is already built. It's like going into the Super Bowl and you get to be the head coach the day before the Super Bowl. You didn't have to coach them all season, but you get to take them to the Super Bowl. That's about the only thing that I could compare it to. This team is ready to go, and we'll represent the Army well.
Stephanie Woodard, News Center 11.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
All right, good story there, Steph.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Big battalion getting ready to deploy, so. Yep.
All right, Joe Cook is coming up next with a look at sports, and there are some big games coming up for the UAF basketball team and the Ice Dogs.
Yep, that's right. That and more with Joe Cook, cooking it up next in sports.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Time for some Wednesday sports. I'm Joe Cook. The Ice Dogs are finally back in the Big Dipper this week. They've been on a 6-game road trip following the Christmas break. They finished 3-3 after the roadie. Now they'll be in their own barn for 6 straight. First things first, though, starting tomorrow, they host the Minnesota Magicians in a 3-game series. Taylor Munson, a.k.a. T-Money, has been money. He was named NAHL Forward of the Month for December and NHL Player of the Week for the Midwest Division to ring in the new year. He has 14 straight games with the point. That's best in the league, and he is 4th in scoring with 35. This Midwest Division Series pits the first place Ice Dogs against the last place Magicians. The Magicians are coming off a solid series split with the Minnesota Wilderness, allowing 3 goals in 2 games to the division runner-up. For this series, the Ice Dogs don't want to overlook the Magicians. They may have something up their sleeves.
We have the toughest division in the league, and every team's really good. I don't think there's any team that's not as good as the other team or any other team. So we got to make sure we're not taking these guys for granted, and they're really good actually. So we just got to be ready for them.
It's good to be back at the Dip. I mean, the road trip, it's always a lot of fun with the guys, but I mean, by the end, we all are tired. No excuses for us though. It was a tough series, 6 games in 9 days, but I felt like 3-3 not good enough for us, but a lot of teams would be happy with that result.
And the UAF women's basketball team is back at the Patty, and they prepare for a 3-game homestand this week. Tomorrow, they continue a tough schedule with first place St. Martin's. The Saints are the best defensive team, allowing only 54 points. They are 8-1 against D2 teams and are on a 6-game win streak. On Saturday, UAF hosts Western Oregon, who has lost 3 of their last 4. They are the lowest scoring team in the conference, but Dana Gutierrez is legit with 18.2 points and 9.7 rebounds per. That's 3rd and 2nd in the GNAC. But Nanox head coach Cody Bench is getting contributions from freshman Victoria Milton and senior Ruth O'Neill. She wants the team to focus on what they do despite their tough schedule.
I think it's just a matter of how mentally tough we are, ready to handle any kind of pressure we're going to face, what kind of adversity we're going to face during the game. And I think that the preseason schedule and the games up to this point have really helped us develop into a mature team.
Jordan's been finishing very well. I think all of us down low have been finishing well lately, and it's been helping us out a lot, inside out, so it's been really good.
We don't have the greatest stats in shooting percentage, but a lot this week we've been working on transition shooting, stopping pops, pick and rolls, everything to help us get our rhythms back together.
Also on women's basketball team news, Heather Hild from Chandler, Arizona signed a national letter of intent to play for UAF next season. Hild is an all-state forward, standing 5'11" for Seton Catholic Prep. Hild has 2 Arizona Division II state titles under her belt and is coming off a tournament MVP performance in the tournament in Tucson. The senior averaged 13 points and 9 rebounds her junior year and led the Sentinels in scoring in their state title run as a sophomore. Seton Catholic is currently ranked 3rd in Arizona. The Nanook men's basketball team will put their 3-game winning streak on the line this week while on the road. Thursday, they visit preseason GNAC favorite Seattle Pacific, who is ranked 11th in the country but have dropped their last 2 games. But Falcons are tops in the GNAC in field goal and 3-point percentage, and they have the 3rd best scorer in David Downs at 20.8 per. On Saturday, the Nooks visit Montana State Billings. They're a 6-6 team with alternating wins and losses all season. The Yellow Jackets are top 4, however, in 6 defensive categories. Kalen Hatcher's 6.4 assists are a GNAC best, and he'll look to feed their leading scorer, Jonathan Megsna, at 14.3 points per game. Big matchup for the Nanoks. And today, West Valley senior forward Trayvon Brackett, the transfer from East, made his college choice in the early signing period, committing to Ancilla Community College. The Ancilla Chargers are in Donaldson, Indiana, and they are in the Michigan Community College Athletic Association. Brackett will be under second-year head coach Aaron Butcher. The Chargers are currently 4-8, but they are 1-0 in their conference and have played 7 top 25 teams. So congratulations to Mr. Brackett. And this week in prep sports, the West Valley and Monroe boys basketball teams will be at Diamond High School. Tomorrow is the start of the Diamond Alaska Prep Shootout. Some of the best teams in the state will be in the tournament, including 6-0 Colony, currently number 1 in 4A, West, Grace Christian, Thunder Mountain, and Ketchikan, and host Diamond. Back in the interior, though, prep hockey starts up again on Thursday with Chugiak, Glen Allen, and South visiting the interior to take on West Valley, North Pole, Hutchinson, and Lathrop. And don't forget about 4A wrestling, the John Tobin Invitational at North Pole High. get started on Friday, and tonight the Wolfpack and Patriots hit the mats at North Pole. Now let's announce the last Pro Football Challenge winner for Week 17. The Week 17 winner is Daniel Klein out of Delta Junction. Congrats, Daniel. Getting an oil change courtesy of Stanley Nissan. Daniel got 15 of 16 picks right and picked Philly to win over Dallas in Week 17. Remember that game? Picked them to win 21-17. The finals 24-22. And after the first playoff weekend, Ed Irby of North Pole won, and he gets an oil change courtesy of Stanley Nissan as well. Irby was 4 for 4. He picked my 49ers to win 27-24 of the Packers, and we won San Fran 23-20. And then in the final Pro Football Challenge standings, they count your best weeks and throw out your worst 4 weeks to get the final score. Robert came away with the regular season title with 179 points. And the ladies know some football. Debbie and Kathy tied for second with 175. AK Chick and Ernium tied for third with 174. Then something unprecedented. Fred Brown and Mike Schultz came back like the Colts did against the Chiefs. Mike Schultz finished with 170 points. Fred Brown out of nowhere with 167, and I finished at 162 after leading pretty much all regular season. I feel some type of way about that, but that's it for sports. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and as always, we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at the weather, and the cold temperatures are still on tap for later on this week, so get ready for them. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Here's our photograph for tonight. This one's sent in by a good friend of mine, Carmen Leonelli. He was at the Allison Air Force Base not too long ago and was able to capture this sunrise. As you can see here, the edge of the clouds and the sun coming up. Nice shot there. And as always, as we say, if you can have a photograph you want to share, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. What's going on at the airport right now? Well, it's 9 degrees after a high of 14. The overnight low was 3 degrees last night. Record high, 40. That was set in 1930. In 1952, it dropped down to 53 below. Sunrise and sunset, about 4 hours and 37 minutes because we gained 5 minutes of daylight from yesterday. And we have an air quality alert in effect right now, I should say, till 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Fairbanks has moderate levels, but North Pole is in unhealthy conditions. So if you have any respiratory or heart problems, you might want to think about staying in for tomorrow during the day because it could be a little uncomfortable. All right, here's what's going on the satellite and radar. Again, you can see the remnants of an area of low pressure just kind of fizzling out, moving out of the picture, and we're looking at more cold air coming in from the north. That'll be working its way across the entire state over the next couple of days, giving us the cold temperatures. As you can see here, not too much going on. A few showers around the Juneau area, some snowflakes in the Nome area with 31 degrees there. Clear skies at Barrow and Fort Yukon, partly cloudy and 7 degrees above. Lower 48 weather, things are definitely turning around now after having the horrible cold temperatures and heavy snowfall. That's all moving out of the picture. In fact, temperatures starting to return somewhat to normal readings. 17 degrees in Chicago. Dallas reporting some rain, also some rain around the Miami, Florida area. On our satellite and radar, a little bit of remnants of a snow shower activity moving across the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. New storm system moving across the Pacific Northwest, and the overall outlook is calling for, again, things to warm up over the weekend. That's good news. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. For the northern sections, flurries expected for Barrow, scattered snow showers for Nome, and also in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, well, we will be looking at, for the most part, cloudy skies and scattered snow showers, not quite so heavily around the Healy and Delta Junction areas. And temperatures, though, cooling off, as you can see there. And as far as the southeastern sections, rain and patchy fog expected in Juneau, with more widespread rain around the Ketchikan area. Out to the southwest we go, mixed showers for Cold Bay and Kodiak, just cloudy skies for Bethel. While over the south central regions, if you're heading on down the Anchorage Bowl, look mainly just cloudy skies for Anchorage, Homer, and Valdez. So all in all, not too bad. Here's our weather fact for, actually we'll tell you real quickly, looking back at the weekend forecast for the lower 48. Again, the cold air moving back up to the north, that's good news. All right, now let's talk about that weather fact. As you can see, our weather fact in 1990, Stevenson, Washington was hit by 96-mile-per-hour winds. That's way above hurricane force and causing quite a bit of widespread damage. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. And again, the kids from Two Rivers School will be with us next week. All right, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night.
a little colder, some scattered snow flurries, 2 degrees below zero. Tomorrow's forecast calling for 4 above, scattered snow showers, but turning much colder by evening. And here comes the cold temperatures. As you can see here, we're looking at 15 below for the high on Friday, and then 20 below for Saturday and Sunday, with overnight lows dropping to near 30 below. That'll be happening all weekend long. And then really cold temperatures Sunday night into Monday, overnight lows down to 35 below. And then somewhat of a recovery, hopefully by next Tuesday and Wednesday, but definitely long john weather, and get out the wood stove and the fireplace and everything else.
All right. All right, thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
We have run out of time, so with that, that'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us. Everyone, have a great evening.
Good night.